good for you and what is bad for you and what you are eating. Sister Akpa, you are welcome to the platform. I can't hear you, please. You are muted. Or mute yourself. You are still muted.
Yeah. Can you
Yes,
hear me now?
Yes, yes.
yes. Bless you,
Okay.
sister.
And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Of course, we can see it. Healthy eating, wealthy
Okay.
well-being.
So we are good to go now.
All right.
So good morning, everyone. We are all invited to this forum, healthy eating and wealthy well-being. First and foremost, I want to thank Mommy Akinwande for inviting me. And I'm so glad to be here. And I want to thank Mommy Kumui for the charge. And I really gained a lot because at this period, we really need this encouragement. Every one of us, we need such words at this time. So thank you very much, Mommy Kumui, for the charge, for the words of advice. And I hope that it will do me and every one of us a whole lot of good. So today I'll be talking about healthy eating, wealthy well-being. First and foremost, I want us to say a word of prayer before we continue. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for this program, for the encouragement that we have received from our mommy in the Lord. We thank you because you have a plan for us, and the thought that you think towards us is peace only. Father, as we want to look into this study on how to eat healthy and how to be healthy, I pray that, Lord, you will teach us yourself in Jesus' name. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Amen. So, this is a little profile about me. I'm a food scientist, been studying food for several years now. I really love to talk about food. I'm always excited. So don't be surprised if you see me very, very excited this morning because it's my area and I really love talking about food. I had my master's in FUTA and my second master's in Belgium, and I've gone through some trainings in the industry, and I was also in the Food for the Future conference in Germany in 2018, and currently I do my own thing, hoping for better opportunities in the future. So quickly, I'm going to talk about food. I'm going to take you from known to unknown. So you may have had and known a lot about what I'm going to talk about, but see this as a reminder and as a charge for you to do, because it's not only the hearers that will benefit from this, but the doers. A lot of us, we know most of the things I'm going to talk about, but this is a reminder for us to do all what we know and also learning new things. So I'm going to talk about nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients. I'm going to talk about balanced diet. Then I will also open your eyes to some 3 dimensions of hunger that we have that a lot of people do not know. And then I'm going to tell you the policies recommended for eating healthily in the UK, specific to UK. And then I will give you the secret to eat more to gain less. You may be like, why is she saying eat more to gain less? She not saying rubbish. No, you can actually eat more and gain less if you know the principles guiding it. And then I will expose your eyes to how the food labels can help you to actually choose rightly, because we have a whole lot of brands in the store, but when you go through food labels, it will help you to know the ones that are actually good for you. For example, you want to buy yogurt, you have several brands, 10 brands, 15 brands. What is the best one for you? The nutrition labels will tell you that. Then we are going to move to weight, contributors to obesity, anthropometric indicators, then dietary approach to weight management. And then I'll talk a little bit about meal planning because it's very important for us. And then child nutrition, children nutrition, elderly nutrition, and then specifically to this, our special period, coronavirus lockdown. What are the food habits that we have and that is not helping us? So those are the things I'm going to talk about. Please stay with me, and then we have a whole lot to gain so we can ask our questions at the end. Now, I'm going to start with food. food, a lot of definitions about food, a lot of things about food, but one key thing I always like to appear in that definition is nourishing. Nourishing substance, nourishing, not just any substance, but nourishing what we consume to help us, in all the vital processes happening in our body, and also to sustain our life. Whether it is solid, whether it is liquid, as long as it is nourishing, can sustain us, help in all our vital processes, we call it food. And food, God created a lot for us. We have a lot plant-based, animal-based, and God has given us all these. But we need the wisdom of God to know how to combine these things together to nourish our body. It's our choice. God has given us a lot, but we still need to make a choice on what we will eat. If you look at, let's quickly, because this is a Bible choice, so I will take you to the Bible also. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. If you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 in the beginning, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth. God has given us a whole lot of herbs, a whole lot of plants, and he has given us for meat. And therefore, we have to know how to combine, how to put them together in order to help us to sustain our health, to maintain our health, to help us in the vital processes happening in our body, and also to, help us to achieve our daily activities. We need the energy, we need the vibrancy to do all that we need to do. So even though God has given us a whole lot, we also need the wisdom to be able to combine them. And that is why we'll talk about essential nutrients. We have essential nutrients such as carbohydrates, protein, fat, vitamin, minerals. Some people do forget to mention fiber and water. But I am going to tell you some reasons why when we are mentioning essential nutrients, we should not leave out the fiber and we should not leave out the water. Now, the nutrients. You may ask, what's nutrients? They are the compounds that we have in food that are essential to our life. And every food that we have, for example, I don't know if you can see my background. I have a whole, can you see my background? I have some groups of food in my background, the vegetables, I have a whole lot of vegetables. All these foods are mixtures of nutrients. There is no single food that has just one nutrient. However, when we want to group food, we say, okay, this particular set of food, they are energy giving food. I have some of them. I have bread here. I have all kinds of carb food. We say this food has a whole lot of carbohydrates, more fat. Then we say it's an energy giving food. So when you eat this portion of this food, you are sure that you have the fuel that you need to carry on your daily activities. And there are some other groups of food. We say they are bodybuilding foods or growing food. They build your muscles, they build your structural system, they help in your hormones, your enzymes, and everything your body needs to function. Bodybuilding, we say those foods are growing foods or bodybuilding food, and they contain a lot of proteins. I have some of them here. You have plant-based, you have animal-based. Some are, gotten from nuts and seeds, and some are gotten from seafoods and the likes. They all have their own function. And then we call some other foods protective foods. These are the ones rich in vitamins and minerals. And that is why you will see along the line, when I begin to take you through these teachings, you will see why you need each groups of these foods, whether energy giving foods or whether bodybuilding foods or whether protective foods. We all need these groups. So this is just a picture showing you how the nutrients are grouped: macronutrients, micronutrients. We have the vitamins, minerals, some are fat soluble and water soluble. And I'm going to tell you this because some groups of people who are into nutrition, they call themselves, some people say they are keto people. They say, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that. A lot of rules here and there, a lot of confusions here and there. But today I'm going to show you why you need a balance of nutrients for yourself. Because if someone say, avoid completely fat-based food, now we have the fat-soluble vitamins. How do you want to benefit from the fat-soluble vitamins, the vitamin A, the D, the E, and the K that are actually very important? But what I'm going to preach more today is a balance, and we are going to get it as we move on. If you want to, you can see the link there. Maybe if I drop the slide, you will see a whole list of vegetables that you are exposed to. Now I'm going to talk about the macronutrients. We have the carbohydrates, and I'm going to emphasize on the fiber-rich carbohydrates. The brown rice, the brown bread, the oats, the brown noodles, and everything. These ones are the best for us because we eat it in the form at which nature has given this to us. A lot of people dwell more on refined products. You see them eating white rice, white bread, white this, and all that. Those ones, they have already removed a whole lot of the fiber. And as they are removing the fiber, a whole lot of the vitamins have also been removed. And that is why we have to pay attention, especially for our carbs. We should embrace more fiber-rich carbohydrates, the one that nature gave to us, the one that the fibers are still there, the vitamins are still there. Those are the ones, and that is why I circled the complex carbohydrate. If you look at it, we have the simple ones, we have the complex one. We need more of the complex carbohydrates so that we can get the benefits of the fiber as well, and we can have all our vitamins intact. When we talk about protein, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm grown now. I don't really want to grow taller or want to do this, so I don't really need protein." But you see, the function of protein is beyond growth. Most of the enzymes, the antibodies, they are made up of proteins, and we need it because the antibodies, they actually protect us from bacteria and viral infection. And even at this time, we need the protein. So aside the growth and the development, we need proteins for structural buildup of our muscles. We need it for antibodies that protect us from bacteria and viral infections. We need them in chemical reactions performed by the body, that is the enzymes, and we need for effective communication in our body. So beyond growth and development, we need the proteinous food. And I have some of them here. Maybe in the demonstration, I can show you some of those things. Now, the healthy fat. We must understand when we want to get a knowledge, we must get an holistic kind of knowledge. Now, when we talk about healthy fat, we talk about you removing completely the trans fats from your diet. When I want to talk about trans fat to layman, I said those are the fats in your heavily processed and engineered food. You find them in cakes, you find them in cookies, you find them in donuts and the like. And then you find the saturated fat in our cheese. I have a cheese here. And you see, especially in this part of the world where we eat a lot of cheese, we just have to reduce it because they are full of saturated fat. And then we embrace more of the unsaturated fat, the poly and the mono. And these are the fats that are liquid at room temperature. The unsaturated fats are the ones that are liquid at room temperature. And we have to do away with all those fats that are solid at room temperature, because those are the things that gives many of us issues, cholesterol issues, and all form of obesity that we experience. Now, I quickly go to the micronutrients. I have a lot to say. When we are talking about micronutrients, we talk about vitamins and minerals, and they are very, very, very important for vital processes in our body. And the sources are majorly our fruits and vegetables. And you cannot do away with fruit and vegetable. You see, I've seen situations where I ask people, like, I'm always the fruit police, the fruit and vegetable police. I ask my community online that, how many of you have taken fruit and vegetables today? And then you hear, oh, I forgot. Oh, I've not eaten. Oh, the fruit police is here. We cannot do without the fruit and vegetables, because we need all those vitamins for our immune buildup. We need the minerals, we need for our bone health, we need it for our respiratory health, we need it for our prevention of disease, sicknesses, and every day we must strive to eat at least 3 different portions of fruits and vegetables. Now, other nutrients, these are usually the forgotten nutrients: the fiber, the soluble fiber, the insoluble fiber. And we must be careful that we don't leave fiber out of our food, especially when we eat refined carbs. We are leaving out actually most of the soluble and the insoluble fiber. And we must ensure that every day we eat foods that take care of this aspect of nutrients that we need, because this reduces the risk of some cancers, especially colon cancer, actually. And also it helps us in glucose tolerance, especially those people that have poor insulin response, that diabetic or pre-diabetic. You actually need more fiber-rich food to help your body to be able to handle the sugar that is being released. Also, when you want to control your weight, you need more fiber-rich food, because it increases your satiety. You are full. With little food, you can be full, So also, we also need this to prevent constipation. We see a situation where people are taking medicine to be able to pass out their bowel function. When you take foods that are rich in fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber, it will help your bowel movement, okay? You don't need, let food be your medicine. It's something that we hear all the time, actually. When you take more of, all this nutrient that you need, you will see that you don't actually need any medicine to survive. Now, water, the forgotten food nutrient. A lot of people, they usually forget to say, I'm not thirsty. If you're not careful in this part of the world, you will find yourself not taking enough of water, because you are not sweating, you are not in the hot sun like you will be if you're in Lagos. So you have to be intentional about taking water. You don't have to wait till when you are thirsty, but you have to be intentional about taking at least 6 to 8 glasses of water daily. Now we go to the balanced diet. What do I mean when I talk about balanced diet? It means you eat varieties of food in the right proportion. Varieties. You don't only limit yourself to a certain group of food, maybe your carbs, or only the protein, or only the fat-based food, or only fruits and vegetables. No, but you eat varieties in the right proportion. And the purpose for which you are eating that variety is to achieve and maintain. You don't only want to achieve a healthy life, but you want to maintain consistently a healthy life. And the key is that you know the right amount of calorie you need to take, you know how active that you are, and then you try to balance it up. Both your inputs, what you are taking in, and then what you are giving out, okay? You try to balance it. And the recommendation is like, women take 2,000 calories a day. But if you are, now you are going to see the reason why your weight loss is not working, and why your health is fluctuating. You are going to understand now, because actually most adults eat more calories than they actually need. So people's breakfast alone is almost reaching 2,000 calories that they need throughout the whole day. And I'm going to open your eyes to it as we go along. So averagely, most adults eat more calorie than they should eat. So we are going to go on. And now, like I mentioned the other time, grouping foods according to food nutrients, we talk about energy-giving food, we talk about growing foods, we talk about protective foods, the 3 dimensions of hunger. Hunger is not only when you don't have the right, the quantity and the quality of food. The quality is also important. It's not only about the quantity, but the quality of the food that you eat. A lot of people, they have this protein hunger. It's a form of malnutrition where their protein intake is actually inadequate for what they need for the whole day. And a good number of us, we begin to see that our protein consumption is very little. It's too little compared to what we need. And some people, although in extreme conditions of war and issues in some countries, some people face calorie hunger. They are deficient in energy intake in all forms, whether they lack the food, access to food. That is where you see more of calorie hunger. But this other one, this eating hunger, that one is very, very common. Even among some people who have all the resources and everything they need, eating hunger is still a form of undernutrition when there's a lack of intake. For some people, it's not only about intake, it's about absorption. When I go to the elderly nutrition, you are going to see as you begin to age, the absorption of some micronutrients, it's very tricky. So we have to be careful the form in which we eat our food. There are some categories of people, they believe I should eat all my food raw. No, that is wrong. Because actually when you subject some foods to cooking, heat treatment, you are releasing the nutrient. Maybe you do some mild treatment, you are releasing the nutrient for your body to be able to absorb it. So there are different schools of thought about eating and feeding. So we are going to see the policies recommended for healthy eating in the UK. In 1994, the UK government, they recommended the Eat Well Guide to the populace, and it's like a national food guide. And over time, they've been working on it, like revising it, renaming it. In 2007, they called it the Eat Well Plate, and the most recent model is the Eat Well Guide. It is a guide for everyone to follow, and it was finally published in March 2016. And you now have a pictorial view of the guide. And what is this guide all about? Yeah, I know it looks clumsy, but I'll give you a summary of what this visual representation is. It just shows you the food, the different food groups, and how each of these food groups should contribute towards your varied and nutritious diet. It's actually based on 5 food groups, and I've tried to have like the 5 food groups. I don't know if you can see my background. I've tried to have the 5 different groups. We have the fiber-rich aspect where you have the potato, the bread, brown bread, you have the brown rice and the likes, and then they group the other section on the fruit and vegetables where you have your leafy vegetables, and also you have your different vegetables in leafy forms and also in tubers and the likes. So all this should make up all what you put in your plate. It shows that the proportion that you put in order to have an healthy diet. If you look at this purple place, you see oils and spread is almost like invisible. That shows that you should almost, try as much as possible in the smallest amount, or you avoid them, okay? And then if you look at this other side, they talk about the labels, which I'm still going to talk about. We need to pay attention to what we buy. We need to pay attention. We don't just go to the supermarket. Oh, I take this. I put this in the basket. I put that one in the, I don't have time. We shouldn't do that. We should take our time to read the labels, because there's an information for you, and it's actually in the Eat Well guide. The color coding of the labels is also very important. In a situation where you see a product, the color coding is red, you know that's a danger for you. And when we are buying something, we look at what we are buying and we assess ourselves in relation to what my goals, my health goals. Am I supposed to buy this? Am I supposed to get this? And this will guide your choice as we move on. Now, what is the key message of the Eat Well guide? The key message is that eat at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and vegetable every day. Now, when I teach people, when I train, I tell them, portion, look at the fist of your hand. Try to get that portion that way. When you want to eat fatty foods, look at the thumb, the size of your thumb, that should be your size. When you want to eat fruit and vegetable, your portion sizes should be the fist of your hand. Eat at least 5 portions, base meals on fiber-rich foods, choosing whole grain above refined grains. Have some dairy or dairy alternatives such as soy milk. You see this soy milk, I really love it a lot because, you know, the protein content actually in the soy milk is kind of higher. I sometimes in the morning, I even prefer to take soy milk than the normal cow milk. You can take the alternatives to dairy, such as soy drinks. I don't know if people still take soy drinks anymore. Then eat pulses, beans, fish, egg, and then choose unsaturated hulls. I've told you, hulls that are liquid at room temperature and spread very little amount. You don't need to eat all these saturated fats or the trans fat. You don't need them because they're actually the problem, creating more issues for people. Try to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. And if you are consuming food and drinks that are high in fat, salt, or sugar, very, very little quantity, and make it very less often. Now, you may want to ask, does the Eat Well guide apply to me or to everyone? Technically, I will say yes. But if you have certain dietary requirements or medical needs, you may want to see a dietitian so that dietitian can help you streamline the Eat Well guide to your needs. And also, I want to bring this by the United States Department of Agriculture. They brought about a link to help you to calculate the calorie that you need in relation to your age, to your sex, to your height, to your weight, and your physical activity level. You may want to check their website, choosemyplate.gov. You may want to check to be able to calculate the amount of calorie that you need daily. The link, you go there and then you can input your age, your sex, your height, your weight, your physical activity level, and it will actually tell you if you need less calorie than 2,000, especially if you are trying to lose weight, or if you need a little bit higher than 2,000 calories. Now, I quickly move to secrets to eat more to gain less. Secrets to eat more to gain less. When we are talking about eating more to gain less, we are talking about dietary energy density. What do I mean by that? The amount of energy you are taking in per the unit weight of the food that you are eating or the drink that you are taking will give you a lot of information about what your approach, how you are approaching food in order to achieve your health, the health condition that you so desire. Now, if you look at this picture here, you see a lot of women say, oh, but I don't eat much. I just ate just one donut since morning. I just took a cup of, a cup of soy. I don't really eat much. I don't just know why I am gaining weight. And then I smile. I say, madam, can you please write down all what you have eaten today and let us assess it? If you look at this food here, the one on the left, the lower energy density food, you see a whole lot of things, banana, you have strawberry, you have egg, you have all kinds of things. And then you look at the right-hand side, you have the donuts and just a cup of tea. And then if you look at the left-hand side, you see that the food is about 450 gram breakfast. That's a typical breakfast. And then the one on the right is a typical junks, someone who didn't eat from home could just grab and eat and say, but I've not eaten anything serious. You know, that's how you say, I've not really eaten anything serious. And yet you see the 144 gram breakfast of two donuts, just two donuts, giving you 500 kilocalories. Wow. And then a decent and good and more, and in fact, maybe you will tell yourself if you are eating that, am I not overeating today? Then you see the 450 gram delivering the same kilocalorie of food, of energy. And then you begin to wonder, but I'm not eating much. Why am I putting on weight? You, you have to be conscious of the energy density of the food that you eat. It is not about, it's not much sometimes, it is about the quality. It is not about the quantity sometimes, the quality. Now, if you look at the figures that I put there, if we calculate the energy density of the food on the right-hand side, we are going to see that it is tending towards very high energy density. If you divide 500 divided by 144, you have about 4 point something. That is very high. And then you see the other side, it's about 1 point something, and that is medium to low energy density. What is the message I'm trying to pass across? The message I'm trying to pass across is that we should lower the consumption of high fatty food, sugar, high sugar food, especially added sugar, okay? And we increase the consumption of fruits and vegetables, plants, tubers, whole grains, beans, fiber-rich foods. And that is the dietary approach to increase our satiety. That is, we are lowering the energy density, we are eating lower energy density food, and we are eating more and we are gaining less. I don't know if you understand me, but maybe during the question and answer time, I may want to shed more light on that. Now we go on to nutrition labels. Now, if you look at this product, I'll bring two products here. If you look at these two products, there are some information. I don't know if you can see me well. Let me drop this. There's an information on this side. It's in Dutch, actually, because I'm in Netherlands. It's in Dutch, but you see the energy, they write the values per 100 meals, then you see the protein content, you see, and every food packed, almost every, let me use the word almost every packed food or pre-packed food have this information. If you look at it, you see they put information about the salt level, about the saturated fat, about the carb, total carb, the dietary fiber, the added sugar also. This information is for you to be able to choose between brands, between products. For example, I tell someone, you want to buy yogurt. You want to buy yogurt, and then you are seeing like 30 list of ingredients for what? You know this yogurt has been manipulated. That is no longer yogurt, you know, because for yogurt we only actually need the starter culture and the milk and maybe some little stabilizers and the likes. But when you begin to see that some food products are having like unfamiliar names and list of ingredients, and you begin to see like a whole bunch of lists, then you begin to tell yourself, nay, this is not for me, because this is already heavily processed, changed the natural form, and engineered, and is already deviating from what nature has given unto us. So this information, nutrition information, is very important for us to be able to choose between brands. And also this color code, some brands, they use color code. When you see this red color, it means that the fat is too high. It's too high. Then you try to avoid. If you are watching your weight, you try to avoid such product. If you see the amber color, If you see the amber color, you know that that particular nutrient, it's medium, moderate. So you ask yourself, do I want to go for it, or do I look for a lower value for that nutrient? And then when you see the green color, it means for that nutrient, it's low. For example, sugar here is low, and then it's like 5%, 4.3 gram per 100 gram. And then with this color code, it will help you to choose the right brand of product. Now we quickly move on to weight. Weight is the body mass or the degree of heaviness. I talked about food. I talked about the different categories, the different groups of food, and balancing the food, and also the energy density of the food that we eat. We should actually choose lower energy density foods. All this, it's because obesity is one of the biggest health problems in the world. Obesity is one of the biggest health problems. And obesity comes with a whole bunch of metabolic syndrome problems, conditions that are not palatable, that are not good for us. High blood pressure, elevated blood sugar. Some people are actually pre-diabetic and diabetic, and they do not even know. It scares me. People go on with poor blood lipid profile, higher risk of heart diseases, and most times these are usually associated with obesity. When these occur through a length of time, you begin to see some of these conditions coming up. And we need to know the contributors to obesity. The contributors to obesity, it could be like genetical, that you're being obese is genetical, but why you can't control the way your body works sometimes, you can actually control your eating habits and your lifestyle. Because if by gene you are, meant to be a big person, a little trigger of poor feeding, poor lifestyle could, worsen the matter. So we should be careful about heavily processed food, also food addiction. Some people are addicted to fatty food, some people are addicted to high sugar food, and also heavy and aggressive adverts has impacted a lot of us. For example, one day I was watching the television and there was an advert on Nutella. How many of you know Nutella? I don't know. The advert was so strong that the next time I went to the store for almost 2 years that I'm in Netherlands, I never had cost to buy Nutella, despite the fact that I loved it. But because I saw the advert, the next time I went to the store, I grabbed a bottle, and I was telling myself, why did I buy this? But the advert was so aggressive. There are sometimes we need to avoid some adverts if we want to eat healthy. Then sometimes our insulin levels sometimes contribute to obesity. Especially if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic, you may feel weak all the time, you may feel tired, and then you tell yourself, maybe I need to eat more, maybe I need to eat more, maybe I need to eat more. And that way, obesity, could set in. And also certain medications, some people use antidepressants, some people use diabetes medication, antipsychotics also contribute to obesity sometimes. Then food cost and availability and misinformation. Now, when we talk about anthropometric indicators of obesity, we talk about the body mass index, which is the most basic way to assess your level of, it's limited. The information you get using the BMI is limited, but it can actually, because it doesn't separate whether you have a lean body mass or fat body. So, but all these other indicators, your waist circumference, your waist to hip ratio, your waist to height ratio, and then your body fat percentages, all these could are pointers. They are indicators whether you are obese or not. If you look at the picture here, we have the apple shaped, people whose fat is, towards the upper region. We call it kind of intra-abdominal adiposity, which is not good because it interferes with our organ. When fat begins to interfere with the organs in your body, it creates a lot of problems. And we have the fat shape, the ones whose fat is more concentrated in the hips, the lower part of the body. And if you want to know whether you are still in the midsection or you are tending towards the dangerous side, you can check some of these parameters, and there are some standards, some figures that you can check to see if you're actually in line or not. Now, the dietary approach to weight management. We all need to be intentional about this. It doesn't happen by chance. When you want to watch your weight, you have to be intentional. How do you start your day? Starting your day by drinking 1 to 2 cups of water, gives you a good start. It's, charges your body, flushes your system, digestive systems, and activates your system. And then you can then start by keeping a food journal. You have to document all that you eat, write out all the food that you eat daily. By writing it out, it will give you an indication if you are eating beyond or you are eating less than what you should be eating. And then you can actually download some apps on your phone, like MyFitnessPal. Maybe you go to and download it online. It's free. You can input the food that you are eating, and then it can calculate the calorie that you get from each food. And when you assess the amount of the calorie you eat from each food, you can control the portion size. Portion size is very, very important. A lot of us eat too big a portion of food than we actually need, because for an average adult, we need about 2,000 calories or lower if you are trying to lose weight. And then next, you try to assess your daily activity. Check how much calorie do I burn for each of the activities I do daily. If you consistently take in more calorie, more energy than you need, you will consistently gain weight and vice versa. So let us be conscious. Let us be more conscious of what we eat, and then we can control the portion size. Now, other tips: careful choice of food with the knowledge of nutritional information. Like I said, try to check your food labels, and then the frequency of feeding. Let us watch the timing, how frequent we are eating, and then we also control the portion size of the food that we are eating. And sometimes we may even need to select less or empty calorie food, like less calorie food like eggplants, cucumber, and the like. And we should try as much as possible to avoid snacking between meals. When we snack too much between meals, they all contribute to our calorie for that day. And then the time lag between our meals should be between 4 to 5 hours, so we give our body the time to break down the food that we have eaten and to use what it needs to use. And controlling our portion size is very, very important. Yeah, you may say, oh, but there's a standard serving size, a standard quantity of food I need per day, but the portion size is the quantity that is specific to you and your particular need, and you must work on your portion size. Now, meal planning. A lot of us do not actually plan our meals, and that is why we've been eating unhealthily over time. But when we plan our meals, it can actually help us to eat more consciously healthy foods. Planning your meals gets us the right information and the right amount of food to eat per time. And it's a way for which we can have the right food nutrients to stay healthy on a daily basis. And we have to use this checklist. Am I consuming fruits and vegetables? Am I consuming whole grains, that is unrefined grains? Am I taking lean protein, nuts, and low-fat dairy products? We can, through our meal planning, we can actually check out for those things. Now, there are a lot of apps, there are a lot of applications that can help us in our overall meal planning, for our weight loss, for meal preparation, and using our leftover foods and budgeting. Maybe you're on a low budget for food, you can find a suitable apps that can help you in whatever journey that you're in, whether weight loss journey or budgeting and meal preparation and using of leftovers. You can check out all those apps. There are many different apps that can help you. And you can also follow some food platform community. This will also help you to get more conscious of what you eat. Now we move to children nutrition. Why is children nutrition important? Because children are the growing phase, even though their nutrition is also based on the principles for adult nutrition. However, we want to build a good foundation for our children for healthy and strong life. And we want them to be physically and mentally, alert and okay. And we as parents or caregivers, we are the one to guide them and help them through this nutrition, through their nutrition. Now, why is children nutrition distinctive? Because it forms the foundational knowledge of healthy eating that the children will carry through life. Okay, and the nutritional knowledge that your child have can actually help them in the future. And it also affects their learning abilities, their behavior, their mental and social and physical well-being. We want to boost their soul, because good food actually boosts the brain, it boosts the soul. And we want to help them to get the right nutritional foundation that they need for their health. Now, the guidelines for our children nutrition should be protein seafoods. We give them seafoods, we give them egg, beans, lean meats, and unsalted nuts. Many people, we are giving our children too much of salt through consumption of nuts. Like I said, some of these nuts, some of them, they have too much of salt. When we are buying these nuts and seeds, please let us ensure to buy the ones that are unsalted, Then the fruit and vegetables, let's try to give our children varieties. Let's give our children varieties, whether it is fresh, mostly fresh. But if we are buying the frozen and the canned and the dried fruits and vegetables, let us check the labels for the sodium and the sugar content, and let us watch, okay? And let us ensure that our children take milk every day. They take these bodybuilding foods. They take yogurt. It's very good for their gut health. And also, some of these soy beverages are fortified with micronutrients. They are also, good for them. And let us limit the refined grains that we give our children also, the refined white bread and pasta and white rice. And we should introduce them to actually brown, fiber-rich carbohydrates so that they can grow with that knowledge. Now, if we are not careful with our children nutrition, they will actually be eating junks all through the day, because children, if they are left alone, they prefer the cookies, they prefer the chocolate, they prefer, I want to eat burger and all kinds of things. But we have to guide them appropriately to limit added sugar, saturated fat, sodium. We check those chips that we are buying, those parts, them, I won't mention name. Those chips that you buy children, most of them are so high in sodium, in salt, too high. So please let us check all these chips and cookies. Some of them are too high in salt, in sugar. So please let us check the labels that we are not endangering the health of our children. Now, divided plate and lunch box. You know, divided plates and lunch box, we help you to know the group of food that you are giving to your children. For example, if you look at those plates, you can see that, yes, I am giving my child a good quantity of fruits and vegetables, and my child is eating the right portion. So sometimes we may need to get a divided plate to be able to know the quantity of each of the food groups that we are giving to our children. And even in their lunch boxes, okay, we can use a divided plate. And now, if we look at the food pyramids for the kids, if you look at the pyramid, it is not just triangular for fun, but it's kind of triangular because it's telling you the proportion of each of those food groups for your children. Water, unlimited. Grain groups, 6 servings. Vegetables, minimum 3 servings. Dairies, 2 servings. It tells you the proportions that you should, incorporate into their meals. Now, principles to incorporate healthy eating habits: involve your children. Involve your children in meal preparation and even shopping. Try to lecture them. For example, for my son of 3 years plus, I tell him vegetable. Sometimes I just think vegetable is good for your body, fruit is good for your body, vegetable is lekker. Like I say it in Dutch, I say vegetable is lekker. So eat vegetable, we can involve them in meal preparation. We eat together as family. When they see you eating healthy foods, they can incorporate that habit also. Discuss about food with your children. Incorporate fun activity like nutrition puzzle, fun garden activities. You can even grow some vegetables in your garden. Then nutrition vocabularies, fruit and vegetable fun groups, food games, meal planning. Allow them to be part of the meal planning and reward good habits. Reward them when they eat healthy and be a good example. That is the most important. Be a good example. Now, I want to move to elderly nutrition. I don't know if my time is already up. I know Mommy Dupe will alert me if my time is up. Elderly nutrition.
I was carried away by your talking. I forgot.
Oh my God.
Don't worry. The only thing is our question and answer. But go on. Let me see what
How
time.
many minutes do I have left?
You're supposed to have stopped since.
Whoa.
Question and answer time now. Actually, for your question and answer time to be over, you have 2 minutes.
Okay. So can you give me 5 more minutes?
Of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you very much, Ma. So elderly nutrition is very important because, elderly ones, a lot of issues with physical difficulties, poor dental health, then decreased sensitivity to smell and taste, thereby reducing their appetite. Also, some people lack the finance, and then medication side effects, memory loss, depression, and lack of transportation. All these, affect nutrition for the elderly ones. And that is why you have to assess yourself. Am I having poor dental health? Is it affecting what I eat? Do I lack sensitivity, taste? I don't have appetite. Am I having memory loss? I can't even remember if I should eat this, or physical activity. I can't even go shopping. You can do well to assess all those things and, try as much as possible to work towards this. Now, healthy food choices for the elderly ones, try to include foods that are rich in iron, the fruits and vegetables. When I talked about the food groups, I mentioned that the foods that are rich in calcium, because a lot of elderly ones suffer from osteoporosis, weakness of the bone, and then foods rich in vitamin C for your immune system, and foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help your functioning of your system also, and foods rich in fiber, vitamin B12 for your nerve function, and foods rich in potassium, less sodium, and rich in magnesium for your immune system, bone health, and also water. Dehydration should be avoided by all means. Okay. Now, the take-home message for the elderly ones is try to diversify your diet, do some physical activities indoor, out, have a regular medical checkup, okay? And then if you know you are not getting the needed micronutrient from food you eat, get a good supplement. So you can see your doctor for that, for good supplement. If you know that you're feeding, you don't really have much appetite, and then trust in God's promises for you, and then try to socialize, so avoid depression and the likes. Now, quickly, in 2 minutes, I want to talk about food habits during COVID-19 lockdown. Why is the lockdown peculiar? Because it's different from our usual lifestyle. Our usual lifestyle is we go out, we go to work, we meet people, we are active. But now we are in a unusual lifestyle where we stay more at home, we work from home. If we are not careful, before lockdown will be like this, and then after lockdown, we are the other side. We are the other side. And what are the factors that can actually take us to the other side? Sedentary lifestyle. We are more indoors, working from home, uncontrolled eating, because we are more indoors, we just eat uncontrollably, then boredom. Because we are bored, we could actually be eating more. And then the timing, we no longer follow our lunch time, the work and the place of work, then we just eat anytime we like. Different, besides all these factors that naturally affect us, our education and everything, the current trigger is coronavirus, COVID-19 lockdown. And it's contributing to this factor that make us form the food habits that we currently have. And we have to develop the strategy to maintain the good habit during COVID-19. And what are the strategies? When you are working from home, you can stand up and do some little exercise, even while on your desk. You don't have to sit down in a position for 5 hours. You can stand up, stretch. It may be a little, but it's better than nothing, okay? Then we should have a timing for our meal. We should have a timing for our meal. We should not eat uncontrollably. You know the time to eat the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner. We should not just be eating round the clock. And the last thing, try to what? Control. Sometimes you need to put off the food. No, I don't need this. I shouldn't eat this at this time. Try to control what you eat. And other lifestyle, exercise regularly, get adequate sleep, and minimize and cope with stress. Some people, because it is work from home, they are not actually taking time off. They are not using their off periods at work. Let us minimize stress and cope with stress. Now I conclude with this passage of the scripture, Proverbs 25:27-28. It is not good to eat much honey. He that has no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without wall. We have to put control, even though a lot of foods are surrounding us. We have to, know what we need, put caution, and God will help us. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, my sister. Let's give a hand for Sister Kweyemi. Thank you so much. Now, we're supposed to take question and answer if it is just one question or two questions. But I need to take permission from the people. Can we still spare 15 minutes? That means we are going to finish 1:15 instead of 1 o'clock. If you want us to take extra 15 minutes, just raise up your hand to me. If you want us to finish 1:15, raise up your hands, please. I can't see people. Sorry, let me see. Let me see if I can see people raising hand. Do you want us to take 15 minutes after? Raise up your hand. If you want 15 minutes after, 15 minutes after, raise up your hand. 15 minutes after. All right. I think some people want us to take 15 minutes after. Don't worry if you cannot stay, although the last blessing is going to be a beautiful Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, if she will take one question or two. So the rest of if you have questions, just go on your chat, click on Deeper Live, the host, click on the host, type in your questions, and then leave your number so that when she answers me, I will send it to you. If you have another question that is not going to be answered today, click on the host, the Deeper Live, write your question, and then I will get back to you. Make sure you put your number though. All right, sister, just one question you are going to take.
Okay.
Any question, please? Just one question. Unmute yourself and quickly ask one question.
Hello, ma. I want to ask, you are talking about unsaturated fats, that our fat should be at room temperature.
Hold on, Sister Mary. Since you are here, let me see if we have a visitor. Is there a visitor that wants to ask question? Can I see your hand up? Many people close their whatever. Okay, sister. Can you please unmute yourself and just say it if you have a question?
Question.
All right. So, Sister Mary, sorry, your question is going to go to the chat. Let our visitor ask. Go on, my sister. God bless you.
Okay, God bless you, ma. Good afternoon, ma. My name is Lillian. My question is about, if you're breastfeeding, it's a kind of hard, because for me, I'm breastfeeding and I feel hungry all the time. And I try to control it. It affects the breast milk. Is there any other way to go around it? Please.
Sister, over to you.
Okay, yeah, I expected the question. I expected the question. If we are breastfeeding, for example, we women, I am also breastfeeding. I have a 9-month-old. If we are not careful, we tend to eat too much than we need. And that is why I gave the choose my plates. I think I showed the link where you can actually calculate the calorie that you need using your peculiarities, whether you are, I think it has a place to put whether you are pregnant or not. And that was what helped me in my second pregnancy, because in my first pregnancy, I was eating voraciously. I am a voracious eater. And I came down with gestational diabetes, actually, which was terrible. I could have lost my life. I had to relearn how to eat. And that was what brought me into, learning how to use these apps and how to join in the communities to help my nutrition. And that was what actually moved me into dwelling more in nutrition and training people now, because a lot of women feel because I'm pregnant and breastfeeding, they eat a lot and then come down with diabetes or something. So you can use the link choosemyplates.gov to actually calculate the amount of calorie you need per day as a breastfeeding mom. You put your peculiarity, and then you can choose food within your calorie limits. You don't eat outside your calorie limit, because you don't want at the end of the day to be obese and then come down with all the associated health issues like blood sugar, high blood sugar, high lipid profile and all that. So calculate your calorie need as a breastfeeding mom and eat within that calorie limit. And that is why I talked about eat more to gain less. You can actually eat more by choosing the right food within your calorie limit. So instead of choosing the higher energy density food, you can choose more of the lower density foods, okay? Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that is how you can help yourself if you are a voracious eater, maybe during pregnancy or during breastfeeding. You try to choose more of the lower energy density foods.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if I have, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Is it possible to say something?
sent as well, I will appreciate it. I've sent my email already.
All right.
Okay.
That's okay. Thank you, sister. Okay, my sister. Okay, one of my sister from Fambra is talking.
Oh yeah, I just wondered, I thought I'd say that when I was breastfeeding.
Sylvia, God bless you.
Oh, hello, sisters. Thank you. I just thought just a little advice, because I thought that the presentation was so good, and it was talking about having enough fruit and vegetables, and the proportions you have on your plate. And what I found with talking about the breastfeeding was that I thought that you had to drink lots of milk, and yes, you do for calcium, but it's not like that, because you actually have to have the food in you to produce enough milk. And
Milk,
so
okay.
what is good is that eating more plants, more green and vegetables is actually going to help you more, because the biggest producer of milk is in Britain is the cow, and they actually eat grass all the time. And it's a good thing to remember in your head that you actually eat a lot of, not grass, we don't eat grass, but you eat a lot of vegetables. And just as you were saying, sister, because in our minds, we can remember then that it's easier if we eat a lot of vegetables than it is if we drink a lot of milk, because we don't drink milk to make milk. We need the calcium, yes, but we don't need so very, very much of the actual fats and the sugars from the milk, because milk has got lots of sugar in.
Yeah.
So, I hope that, for all of us to remain healthy through these times, not to have too much sugar, and not to have, the extra fats that we don't need. But of course, we do need some, good amounts of milk as well. So it's not cutting out, milk, yeah. So I hope that's useful.
So God bless you, Sister Sylvia. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your work.
So if you have your question, we are not going to ask anymore. Just go to the chat, connect with just scroll down, get the Deeper Life, supposed to be the number 1 on your chat anyway. Get your question and write down your question with the Deeper Life host, and then put your number so that we can get back to you with the answers to it. God bless you. Before we go, the next thing on our agenda